The man bought a plane ticket every day, but he never actually flew. He would sit in the waiting area watching TV anxiously, until one day, the news anchor fell asleep on live TV. The camera cut to a different shot, and the entire audience was also slumped on the floor. Seeing this, the man immediately stood up and ran out of the room. When he reached the boarding gate, he seemed to realize something. He grabbed a security guard's gun and ran toward the crowd. The passengers thought he was a terrorist and began screaming and running away, but the man didn't shoot them. He was just running desperately toward the runway. The flight attendant noticed something was wrong and tried to close the plane's door. At the last moment, the man wedged the gun between the doors and managed to get inside. With his eyes bulging, he ordered the flight attendant to close the door. She trembled with fear, but did as he said. Then the man burst into the cockpit, pointed the gun at the pilot, and shouted that they take off immediately. The captain was so frightened he nearly had a heart attack. He could barely stay seated. With no other choice, the man explained why. "We have to leave before sunrise. If we don't, we'll all die." Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. The pilot took advantage of the distraction to try to grab the gun, but he missed and only managed to cut his hand. The man insisted they take off as soon as possible, but the injured pilot couldn't fly the plane with just one hand, so the man asked if anyone else knew how to fly. A few seconds of silence passed until a woman raised her hand and said she could do it. The plane began to move slowly down the runway. The co-pilot, who had just evacuated the passengers, was taken aback to see the aircraft start up. When they finally took off, the man ordered them to fly only westward, toward the setting sun. Once the flight had stabilized, the captain asked again what he meant by saying they would die at sunrise. The man explained that he had overheard a secret meeting of his company's top brass. They said the sun had mutated and that any living being exposed to its light would die instantly. Even taking shelter inside a building was useless. At first, he didn't believe it either, until he saw the live broadcast and watched all the athletes collapse at the same time. Then he realized it was real. That's why they now had to flee from the sun and stay in the darkness of night. Otherwise, they would all die. The captain and the woman looked at each other in disbelief, but the man was in control of the plane. Meanwhile, the pain in the captain's hand was getting worse. If he didn't receive medical attention, he would soon be unable to continue piloting, and that would endanger the entire plane. The man, desperate, asked for help. One person said he used to treat the pigs on his farm and could handle a wound like that without any problem. During the treatment, the woman exchanged glances with the pilot.